The second we rolled into the bustling terminal, my chest tightened. Airports are stressful enough, but nothing could have braced me for the chaos about to erupt. My grandpa, fragile and hooked up to his portable ventilator, wheezed softly as we made our way toward the gate. The battery was almost dead, and every second felt critical. I thought maybe we'd get a break, until I saw her. She was standing there like she owned the place, clipboard in hand, glaring at us with pure judgment. This wasn't just another traveler. This was Karen, the kind of HOA-style airport tyrant who thrives on other people's misery, someone allergic to common decency, and absolutely incapable of recognizing a real emergency. In a split second, she snatched my grandpa's ventilator battery straight from the charger he was plugging into. My heart froze. I tried to intervene, but her smirk told me everything. She knew she had the upper hand. Nearby passengers whispered and stared, unsure whether to step in, while security staff seemed to be calculating the fastest way to act without escalating the scene. Meanwhile, Karen was already dialing her phone, probably to report the situation she'd just invented, oblivious to the fact that my grandpa's oxygen levels were dipping dangerously. Each beep from the ventilator rang louder than the airport PA system, stretching each second into an eternity. My hand shook as I begged, "Please, he needs this. It's life or death." She tilted her head, voice laced with condescension. Maybe he shouldn't be traveling if he's so fragile. My blood boiled. How could anyone be this cruel in the middle of a terminal? My mind raced. Do I grab a battery? Call security? Risk a confrontation? Just then, an airport staffer rushed over, immediately noticing the urgency. Within moments, they ushered us into a priority area with outlets designed for critical medical devices. Relief surged as my grandpa's ventilator hummed back to life. Karen, however, wasn't finished. She attempted to argue, but before she could, security seized her phone, stopping her from escalating further. Her smug face melted into fury as surrounding passengers gawked at her meltdown. In that moment, I realized just how unpredictable travel could be, and how one selfish person could turn a routine airport experience into a nightmare. This wasn't just about a battery. This was about human lives being tested under the harsh fluorescent lights of Gate 42. We barely had time to catch our breath when Karen stormed over, her face flushed crimson. She wasn't the type to give up, and it was obvious she was plotting her next move. Each step she took echoed in the small corner where we'd been guided, drawing curious stares from nearby passengers. My grandpa gripped his wheelchair tighter, eyes wide, sensing the rising tension. Karen began ranting loudly, pointing at staff as if they personally insulted her. "This is ridiculous. You can't just hand out power ports to anyone. What about the rules?" Her entitlement dripped from every word, and the staff exchanged weary, frustrated glances. Meanwhile, my grandpa's ventilator beeps maintained a comforting rhythm against the storm Karen was brewing. I tried again, voice trembling from fear and anger. "Sir, ma'am, this is a medical emergency. My grandpa's ventilator. He needs it now." Karen ignored me, shifting her attention to anyone she thought could validate her self-appointed authority. She reached toward the cord, trying to block our access, as if ownership could be claimed by sheer arrogance. I lunged instinctively, keeping her away from the equipment, adrenaline spiking. Passengers began recording, whispering support. Karen's face twisted from anger to desperation. Then, the unthinkable. She grabbed a small sign from the floor, brandishing it as though it could threaten staff or intimidate us. Airport security immediately intervened, their presence finally restraining her theatrics. Karen wasn't done. She shouted about privileges and rule violations, spinning nonsense so fast it was dizzying. Then, attempting to seize the ventilator battery again, she ignored the chaos she had already caused. A senior staff member stepped forward, calm but firm. "Sir, ma'am, this is a medical emergency. You cannot interfere with life-saving equipment." Karen froze, mouth opening but no coherent words coming out. The crowd watching whispered in awe as her pride cracked. Desperate, she tried one last dramatic move, pulling out her phone to call higher management. Then security did something I never expected. They physically confiscated her phone, holding it until the airline could review the attempted call. Karen froze, eyes wide, that stunned disbelief you see in movies, finally realizing her usual intimidation tactics wouldn't work here. Meanwhile, my grandpa's ventilator hummed steadily again and his breathing eased. Relief washed over me, but the air still carried tension. Karen, red-faced and flustered, muttered about injustices, while staff firmly escorted her away. It was like watching a storm finally clipped at the edges, leaving a chaotic mess in its wake. In those frantic moments, I realized how fast an airport trip could spiral. One selfish person could disrupt lives, provoke panic, and test human patience to the limit. At the same time, it highlighted the quiet heroes, staff and bystanders who acted immediately to protect someone's life. The showdown wasn't over. Something about Karen's behavior suggested this was far from her last dramatic move. By now, the terminal had quieted slightly, but tension lingered. Karen was escorted to a side area, phone still in security hands. Face a mix of anger, confusion, and humiliation. I wheeled my grandpa slowly toward our gate, each ventilator beep a small comfort. Yet even as relief settled, I knew the ordeal wasn't fully behind us. There had to be a reason behind her extreme outrage. Moments later, a staff member approached me discreetly, glancing around to make sure Karen couldn't overhear. We reviewed the call she tried to make. They whispered. Turns out she reported the ventilator as a violation because she thought certain seating areas prohibited battery-operated medical devices. I blinked, incredulous. At first, it sounded absurd, but then I realized her behavior, as extreme as it had been, was entirely personal. She genuinely thought she was enforcing rules, however misguidedly. Just as I processed this, Karen returned to main terminal, but not as an aggressor. Her face had softened slightly, movements cautious. She approached staff, speaking in a low, almost apologetic tone. I overheard fragments. She admitted she overreacted, didn't understand the urgency, and hadn't intended to frighten anyone. The transformation was surreal. The same person who tried to seize a ventilator battery and cause chaos was now cooperating quietly, almost embarrassed by her own meltdown. The final twist came as we boarded the plane. Gate staff, our silent allies throughout the ordeal, handed us a note with our boarding passes. Priority seating upgraded, extra power ports available on board. Any inconvenience caused, they sincerely apologized. Relief and gratitude flooded me. My grandpa would be comfortable, safe, and fully powered throughout the flight. As we settled into our seats, I glanced back toward the terminal. Karen stood by the gate, watching passengers board. Subdued, a strange mix of satisfaction and pity washed over me. Her extreme behavior had caused chaos, yes, but it also forced staff to notice gaps in emergency protocols. In an unexpected way, her meltdown had created a safer experience for my grandpa and countless others. The plane doors closed, engines hummed, and I exhaled fully for the first time in hours. My grandpa's ventilator continued its steady rhythm beside him. The ordeal was over, but the story of that chaotic, dramatic, and utterly shocking airport showdown would stay with me forever. And somewhere in my mind, I realized this. Sometimes the worst people reveal the best systems, and selfish actions can unintentionally save lives.